Good morning. Welcome to Hope for Today. So it's day 2 of Daylight Savings Hangover. How y'all doing? I think it's a great background reminder for something that the Bible has tried to teach for centuries, almost from cover to cover. The scriptures want us to remember that God is our rest. Yesterday's devotion touched on that through the eyes of King David as he thought of God as a good shepherd, reminding him to rest. Today, let's take a look at the detail of what God did through the time of the wanderings. Moses' leadership out of Egypt, but before Israel. You guys remember how God fed them, right? Manna? Everybody generally remembers that, and generally it means that we got to trust God to provide for everything that he gives us. But do you remember the specifics of how it happened? That every day, based on how many people were in your household, God would say, hey, go out, and in the morning, based on the amount of people in your household, get this much food. Almost like a stimulus check, to be honest with you. And every day, you'd go out and collect that much, and if you're like me, you'd be a little bit worried that maybe tomorrow there wouldn't be more, and you'd want to save a little bit. And every single night, if you saved more than you ate that day, you woke up the next morning, and it was rotten. It would drive me nuts if I had to live through that because I'm a saver. Except on the last day of the week. On the last day of the week, God actually and specifically told them, get double. For every person in your house, get twice as much as you're going to need. Because that day, I want you to rest. And so overnight, that won't go bad. Overnight, that's going to stay just right so that next day, you're resting. As a matter of fact, as Moses' leadership evolved and God gave him the law to govern them as a nation, he gave them what we call the 10 Commandments. And in the top 5 were rules on how to govern their relationship with God. In the top 5 things that God could tell Moses, one of them, rest every week. And so this week, as we've got this background hangover of daylight savings, not rest, can it remind all of us that from the beginning of his relationship with us, God has tried to remind us that rest is important, that rest reminds us that God cares for us. And so in our culture, addicted to more and more and more and more, there's probably a lot of wisdom and maturity and spiritual growth and dependency and trust and faith and grace in our willingness to grab for less. And when we have less, we'll see that our God is more. So this week, may we be reminded that God is our portion and our rest forever. Thanks for joining us. See you tomorrow.